friendship could be. My little pony. Until you all shared its magic with me. Big adventure, tons of fun. A beautiful heart, faithful and strong. Sharing kindness, it's an easy feat. And magic makes it all complete. You have mine. Do you know you're all my very best friends?
So it's a special occasion in the library.
Re-shelving day.
The funny part is that for Twilight, this is a great time.
The art of the to-do list. Actually, I kind of want to read that again.
I especially like the lighting of the candles in the beginning, like it's a holy ritual.
Spike!
Well, that book's ruined. Anyway, Spike is happy because he got a heart-shaped fire ruby as a birthday present for himself.
I've been aging it for months, and it's almost ripe!
Rarity shows up to borrow a book, falls in love with the ruby, and is horrified that Spike plans to eat it. Not like she didn't know that he eats jewels, it's because this one is extra valuable.
I've never seen anything quite so stunning before.
Are you dropping hints, Rarity? That's not nice.
It's magnificent!
In any case, of course, Spike gives it to her.
Oh, my little spiky wikey!
Aww.
I will never wash this cheek again.
Unfortunately, he was serious. But Twilight eventually chases him down, in her own magical way.
Stop it! Never! I won't!
And does it for him. That was so mom-like of her. And how did Pinkie Pie do that? I mean, I know that's the eternal question, but in this case, it's like she was channeling Twilight's teleportation spell or something. Anyway, it's time for Spike's birthday party, and he's shocked at how many presents he's getting, due to having more friends now.
I usually just get one present from Twilight. A book.
Naturally. So Rarity is wearing the jewel, having had it set in a choker, and
One of the kindest acts I've ever experienced.
oh my god, this is so cute. Seriously, I love these two. So Spike is over the moon at all of the presents he's gotten,
The party can't last forever because you have to go to Sugar Cube Corner.
and Pinkie Pie tells him that there's another surprise waiting for him at Sugar Cube Corner.
I said the party could last forever, but it doesn't need to end right now.
Don't you hate it when people take things literally, Pinkie Pie?
Mr. and Mrs. Cake?
God, Spike is really piling on the cute in this episode. Anyway, the cakes made him a special sapphire cupcake.
Wow!
On the way back, he literally runs into Cheerilee.
I'm so sorry, Cheerilee.
That's okay.
She asks what's got him so excited, and he tells her about the birthday cupcake.
Well, happy birthday, Spike.
It turns out that she'd gotten a really spiffy hat while she was out, so she gives it to him.
Every pony should get fun gifts on their birthday.
That's so nice. Hi, Lyra and Bon Bon. And Derpy. So Spike now realizes that every time someone has found out it was his birthday, they've given him something. So he tries it intentionally.
Hey there, Lickety Split. That's a pretty cool ball you got there. Did you know it's my birthday?
And it works the first time.
It's my birthday! Happy birthday, Spike!
But the second time, Twilight catches him in the act.
You're out here demanding gifts now?
Wow, you're right, Twilight. I don't know what got into me. Thanks for snapping me out of it.
Wow, Ponyville has created a monster. The next morning, Twilight wakes up not only to find that Spike has accumulated a ton of stuff, but he's had a sudden growth spurt.
What's happening to me, Twilight?
Also, he can barely focus on the subject at hand because he's obsessed with wanting to own every object in the room.
You're usually not so grabby.
My arms aren't usually this long either.
Also, I guess his Dragon Balls just dropped. Sorry. Later, Twilight takes him to see a doctor. Off topic, but I love how she's sitting like a puppy.
Will guy not feeling too good?
I know Spike is young, but maybe a pediatrician wasn't the best choice.
Well, I think I know what the problem is. He's a dragon.
So she tries taking him to a vet,
Who's a good boy?
Sid?
but she's no help either. Next up is Zecora. Probably should have started with her. Also, Spike's head is a squeaky toy.
A dragon's heart is prone to greed. A steady diet to make growth speed.
So Zecora explains that he is becoming greedy, and that greed being satisfied has caused him to grow bigger, which in turn increases his greed. It's almost like a hunger where being bigger means you need more food. Now that Spike is bigger, he craves more stuff. The answer is to stop letting him have stuff. Easier said than done. She locks him in a room in the library, but he just ends up hoarding all the books. So she takes them away, and that works about as well as you'd expect. A little later, Spike has stolen all of the apples off the trees, along with the leaves. Twilight and Applejack try to use a lasso to stop him, but just end up tying themselves to a tree. But fortunately, Rainbow Dash has spotted them.
Don't tell me you...
She doesn't do that nearly often enough. Meanwhile, Spike has stolen Fluttershy's chicken coop, but not the chickens, which is kind of funny. Meanwhile, he's invaded Sugar Cube Corner.
Pinkie Pie, stop giving him cake! I'm not giving him cake! I'm assaulting him with cake!
There's a difference, okay?
How dare you take the cake!
Spike has grown even bigger, and now he's moving toward Carousel Boutique. Incoming King Kong reference. You'd think Fluttershy would think to use the stare on him. I guess the episode would have ended too quickly. Anyway, naturally Dashy and Fluttershy fail, but they're replaced by the Wonderbolts. And we're still doing King Kong since they're the closest thing Equestria has to an Air Force, and especially now that Spike is climbing up something. It's a mountain, but he's bigger than all the buildings in Ponyville, so that's the best he can do. Unfortunately, the Wonderbolts don't get to do much before Spike traps them inside the water tower he stole earlier.
Oh, be quiet!
Naturally, Rarity is more like Jessica Lange than Fay Ray. Good on her.
But this is a crime against fashion!
When she removes the cape, it exposes the heart gem that she was still wearing, which Spike notices.
This was given to me by my dear friend, Spikey Wikey, the kindest, sweetest, most generous dragon ever.
Rarity doesn't know it's Spike, so she's speaking from the heart here, as it were. And he flashes back to when he gave her the gem. And it turns him back to normal.
Spike?
I love that guilty smile. Unfortunately, now they're about to fall to their deaths. So Spike tries to confess his love for her.
I've always sort of had a crush.
But she knows. I'm making the same face as Rarity right now. Oh my god, this scene. But of course they don't die and are rescued by Rainbow Dash and Fluttershy. Our work here is done. One more moment between Spike and Rarity.
It was you who stopped, well, you, from destroying Ponyville.
And oh my god, I am dying, you guys. That kiss is gonna stay. And so ends The Secret of My Excess. I confess, I remembered the plot of this episode, but I had forgotten how amazing it is. The comedy is spot on, and while most of the main six doesn't have a lot of screen time, each of them manages to do something funny and memorable. And can we talk about Spike and Rarity for a minute? Back when I covered a dog and pony show, I mentioned that I think Spike's crush on Rarity is adorable. I still do, and this episode kind of continues it in a way that just really makes my heart melt. Especially with him being ready to confess and Rarity implying, "No need to say it, I already know." And I really did tear up there. These two are adorable, and naturally some fanfic writers have run away with this idea. I've seen them being shipped where they end up dating or try to after a point where Spike has matured, ideally. As cute as these two are, with Spike's puppy love and how Rarity probably doesn't reciprocate that, but she's flattered and she thinks he's really sweet, I personally would prefer that it stay that way. I think a natural progression is that Spike just kind of grows out of his crush on Rarity, but she'd always hold a special place in his heart, like they'd always have a special kind of friendship because of that, but only a friendship. Other than that, Spike goes through some interesting character designs in this episode. For a while he keeps his usual head shape, but his body and limbs just get longer and it looks kind of awkward. But then once he gets fully grown, he looks pretty awesome. Kind of similar to the dragon from Dragon Shy, only bulkier and of course with Spike's coloring. It's like he goes through an awkward stage in the middle. Although I wonder what this says about how dragons mature. I guess this isn't the only way they mature. Maybe if they don't become corrupted, they grow up in a more natural way. So we have some dragons who do nothing but hoard stuff, but later we have dragons who don't seem to have that hang-up. I think in the real world, the creators just decided that dragons should be more distinct instead of just having all of them be hoarders. I guess that's all I have to say about this episode. I love Spike and Rarity, but they aren't my OTP or anything. That's still Rarity and Fancy Pants. Next up is Hearth's Warming Eve. See you then.
My Little Pony. My Little Pony friends.
Oh, that's a good one, Twilight. Sweet little Spike running wild. Twilight, get my rope.